My driver is almost here. I pulled back. What? Walk with me when I say so, he murmured. Say nothing unless I ask you something. That's insane, I said under my breath. He didn't flinch. Staying here ends with you escorted somewhere you won't choose. I looked past him. The officer was speaking into a radio now. The desk agent avoided my eyes. The man's voice dropped even lower. Your son will regret this. I laughed once, sharp and disbelieving. You don't know my son. I know the type, he said, control disguised as concern. He told them you forget things. He changed the booking email this morning. He made sure you would sound unreliable. My hands clenched. How do you know that? Because I've done business with men like him, he said. And because I watched him check his phone before he walked away. I shook my head. I'm not going anywhere with you. Then stay, he said calmly. But understand this will not end in your favor. Silence stretched between us. The officer started toward us. If I go with you, I said quickly, I make one phone call first. The man nodded without hesitation. Agreed. And you don't touch me, I added. I won't, he said. My name is Tariq al-Rashid. I'm Marceline Crowell, I said. And if this goes wrong, it already has, he said gently. I'm offering you a way out, not a miracle. The officer was close now. Tariq straightened, placed a light hand near my elbow without touching me, and raised his voice just enough. Darling, he said, warm and practiced. The driver is waiting. Something in me hardened. I nodded once and stepped beside him. We started walking. The car door closed, and the sound cut the airport away like a severed wire. I didn't exhale until the vehicle moved. My hands were clenched in my lap, nails pressed into skin, as if I needed proof I was still solid. You're safe, Tariq said, facing forward. For the moment, I repeated. That's not comforting. He reached into his jacket and handed me a phone. Still warm, temporary, international service. Use it now. I stared at it. You said one call. Yes, he said. Make it. I didn't thank him. Gratitude felt premature. I dialed from memory, praying I still had it right. The line rang twice. Marcy. My sister's voice cracked on the first syllable. Where are you, Leo? I said. I need you to listen. Gideon canceled my ticket. He took my documents. I'm not home. There was a pause. Sharp and deliberate. I knew it. Knew what he's been circling. She said, calling me, asking about the house. My throat tightened. What about the house? He wanted to know if it was still in your name, if there were liens, if I thought you were slipping. I closed my eyes. Slipping how? She said it carefully. Leo continued. Memory, confusion. He laughed when I pushed back. Said you'd been forgetting things lately. I forget grocery lists. I said, not my name. I told him that. She replied. He didn't argue. My grip on the phone tightened. What else? He asked about your accounts. Your retirement. Whether you'd signed anything recently without understanding it. My stomach dropped. Leo, Marcy, she said quietly. He mentioned paperwork. Competency paperwork. The word landed heavy and unmistakable. I told him to stop, she went on. He said he was just being responsible. Tariq glanced at me in the mirror. I raised a hand, asking for silence. He planned this. I said, Dubai wasn't about a vacation. No, Leo said. It was about time. Keeping you out of the country. A vibration buzzed through the phone. A message appeared before I could stop it. From Gideon. Emergency guardianship filed. Don't make this harder than it has to be. My chest tightened. Not with fear, but with something colder. I'll call you back, I said. Stay available. Marcy, Leo said urgently. Don't sign anything, I won't, I said, and ended the call. I looked at the phone for a long moment, then at Tariq. He didn't leave me. I said, he started something. Tariq nodded once, Then we move carefully. I called Leo back as soon as the car slowed. He didn't just talk. I said, "He filed something, I know." She replied, "He filed it 3 days ago." The words landed harder than the message itself. 3 days ago? I repeated. Before we even left. Yes, Leo said. I checked the county docket the moment you called me earlier. Emergency guardianship petition, your name, his signature. So the argument at the airport, I said slowly, wasn't the beginning. No, she said. It was the exit. I closed my eyes and leaned my head against the seat. Moments rearranged themselves with brutal clarity. Gideon insisting on handling the travel plans. Gideon asking me to forward bank statements so he could organize them. Gideon laughing when I misplaced my reading glasses and saying, "See, this is what I mean." I thought he was worried. I said, "I thought he was trying to help." That's how he framed it. Leo said, "Concern, responsibility." He kept saying you were proud and stubborn and that someone had to step in before you made a mistake. Tariq's voice came quietly from the front seat. "What kind of mistake?" Leo answered without hesitation. "Having control," I swallowed. "He asked you about the house." "Yes," she said. "He wanted to know if it was still solely in your name. If there was a will, if there was anything he needed to prepare for." "Prepare for what?" I said. "Taking over," she said flatly. "Legally." I stared at the phone. "So Dubai wasn't a trip. It was a delay." Leo said, "If you were out of the country, he could argue urgency, confusion, inability to manage your affairs." The car stopped. Tariq turned in his seat, his expression unreadable. "He canceled your ticket because you were no longer useful abroad," he said. "If you stayed, he controlled the narrative. If you returned early, the paperwork would face resistance." A new message appeared on the phone. Uninvited. From Gideon. "I filed emergency guardianship because you're not thinking clearly. This is for your own good." I felt something inside me settle. Heavy and precise. "I'm not signing anything," I said aloud. "You won't." Leo said, "But Marcy, listen to me. He's already told people you're unstable. Every move you make now will be watched." I ended the call and looked straight ahead. "He didn't lose his temper," I said quietly. "He followed a plan." Tariq nodded once. Then we respond with one. The car pulled forward again, carrying me away from the airport and toward something far more deliberate. Tariq didn't begin with sympathy. He began with facts. "I need a wife," he said, seated across from me at a small table. Publicly. Briefly. Legally. I folded my hands to keep them from shaking. "I'm not interested in romance." "Neither am I," he said. "This is not that." He slid a thin folder toward me. "Tomorrow evening, I have a meeting with investors who do not trust men who appear isolated. Widowers are viewed as unstable, emotional, easily pressured, and a wife fixes that." I said, "A visible one does." He replied, "One who appears steady, present, equal." I opened the folder. It wasn't a promise. It was structure. Time frames. Boundaries. Compensation written plainly. Not dramatically. Lodging. Legal representation. Access to communication. No affection, I said. None. He agreed. "No improvising stories about my life," I said. "We rehearse only what is necessary," he said. I closed the folder. "And my son." He didn't hesitate. "What about him?" "I don't agree to anything unless your legal team investigates what he's done," I said. "The guardianship filing, the account access, the cancellation, everything." Tariq studied me for a long moment. "You're not asking for protection," he said. "You're asking for leverage." "I'm asking for truth," I said. "And proof." He nodded slowly. "Then we're aligned. Why?" I asked. "Why help me?" He leaned back, the first crack in his composure appearing. "Because my own son is trying to remove me from my company," he said. Different methods. Same language. Concern, responsibility, claims of decline. That settled between us. Heavy and unmistakable. He says I'm losing control, Tariq continued. That I should step aside while I still have dignity. And you, I said. I refuse, he replied, which is why appearances matter. I thought of Gideon's smile at the counter. Calm. Final. This isn't a favor. I said. It's an exchange. Yes, Tariq said. One that protects us both. I straightened my shoulders. Then I agree. On paper. With witnesses. And with lawyers who don't answer to you alone. A faint smile touched his mouth. I was hoping you'd say that. We stood at the same time. Not as allies born of trust, but as two people who recognized the same threat. The agreement wasn't a promise of safety. It was a decision to stop being managed. The first question wasn't directed at Tariq. It was directed at me. And you, one of the investors said, his tone polite but pointed. What is your role in this venture? Mrs. Crowell. I felt Tariq still beside me, not tense, waiting. I spent 32 years in hotel operations. I said, front desk to regional management. My last position oversaw 5 properties across the Southeast. The man across from me tilted his head. Operations, he repeated. Not consulting. Operations is where problems show themselves first, I replied. Consulting usually arrives after. A few glances passed around the table. Another investor leaned forward. Then tell us what you see here. He slid a tablet toward me, stopping just short of my hand. I didn't rush. I read numbers, timelines, staffing assumptions. You're understaffed in year 2. I said finally, not by head count, by training. Tariq's eyes flicked to me. You're assuming retention without building loyalty, I continued. That increases turnover costs quietly. It won't show in your first quarter. It will show in guest complaints. The first man frowned. That hasn't been flagged. Because complaints lag, I said. Guests leave politely. Staff leaves faster. Silence settled. Not uncomfortable, interested. And this, I added, tapping the screen once. Your occupancy forecast ignores regional event cycles. You'll overspend on marketing when demand is already guaranteed. The investor leaned back. You ran properties yourself. Yes, I said. And I cleaned up after forecasts written by people who never stood behind a desk at midnight. A brief smile crossed his face. Direct, accurate, I said. The discussion shifted after that. Less posturing, more questions. When it ended, hands were shaken, not hurried. As we stood, the same investor nodded at Tariq. Your wife understands the business better than most teams we meet. When they were gone, Tariq exhaled slowly. You changed the temperature in that room, he said. I didn't intend to, I replied. I just told the truth. He studied me with a different expression now. Not relief. Respect. This deal holds, he said, because of you. I adjusted my chair and stood. Then we should both stop pretending I'm only here for appearances. Chapter 8. The contract. Marriage. Tariq didn't ease into the proposal. He waited until the door closed and said it plainly. I want a legal marriage, he said. 6 months. Defined terms. I didn't react. Define. Public record. He continued. Mutual appearance when required. Separate rooms. Separate lives. You receive a monthly salary as an operations advisor, full access to counsel, and legal protection for your assets in the United States. And after 6 months, I said, we dissolve it, he replied. Cleanly. I nodded once. I don't trade one cage for another, you won't, he said. Everything is written. A knock came at the door. Tariq opened it to a man in a charcoal suit. Quiet. Precise. This is Graham Klein. Tariq said. American counsel. Graham sat across from me and didn't soften his tone. We reviewed the guardianship filing. Your son accessed 2 accounts without authorization. My breath caught. How? He used previously shared credentials. Graham said, That does not make it legal. And the signatures? I asked. He slid a page toward me. Forged. We matched them against bank records from 3 years ago. The pressure points are consistent. I closed my eyes for a second, then opened them. Proceed. Tariq studied me. You're certain? I'm done being careful for his comfort, I said. But my conditions stand. No intimacy. I continued. No decisions about my life without my consent. Any legal action taken in my name requires my signature. Witnessed. Graham nodded. Reasonable. And if my son contacts me, I added, I decide when and how to respond. Tariq extended his hand. Agreed. I shook it. His grip was steady, not claiming. Then we move forward, he said. The phone on the table vibrated. A notification from Graham's office appeared. Preliminary injunction granted. Account activity frozen pending review. I set the phone down carefully. For the first time since the airport, the ground beneath me felt firm. Gideon didn't knock. He walked in like he still owned the room. You've been busy, he said, eyes locking on me, marrying a stranger, letting him play hero. Tariq didn't rise to the bait. Sit down, he said evenly. I'm not here for you. Gideon snapped. I'm here for my mother. I stood. You're here because your plan stalled. His jaw tightened. You're being manipulated. I was manipulated, I said. By you. He laughed. Sharp and dismissive. You canceled your own trip in a panic. Everyone knows that. Graham Klein stepped forward, calm as a ledger. The airline record shows the cancellation was initiated from your device. Mr. Crowell, time-stamped, verified. Gideon's smile faltered. That proves nothing. Graham continued. 2 days earlier, you accessed your mother's retirement account using credentials she shared years ago. Funds were moved to an intermediary account pending transfer. I was protecting her. Gideon said. She forgets things. And the signatures, I asked. The ones on the property authorization. He looked at me then. Really looked. You would have signed eventually. They were forged, Graham said. Matched against bank records from 3 years prior. Silence pressed in. You filed guardianship before Dubai, I said. You needed me out of the country. Gideon's voice dropped. You needed help. No, I said. You needed control. Tariq finally spoke. Your employer has been notified. Financial misconduct involving an elder triggers automatic review. Gideon's face drained of color. You can't do that. I already did, Tariq replied. Gideon turned back to me. Fix this. I didn't raise my voice. You made a choice at the airport. I'm honoring it. He took a step back, calculating, cornered. The man who smiled while erasing me now stood exposed, with nowhere left to redirect the blame. The consequences did not arrive all at once. They came in layers, quiet and precise. Gideon's accounts were frozen pending investigation. His firm placed him on administrative leave the same afternoon. By the end of the week, the promotion he had been chasing for 3 years was quietly withdrawn. No announcement, no defense, just absence. He sent one message. This has gone too far. I did not reply. Instead, I sat across from Tariq as Graham confirmed the final filings. The guardianship petition has been dismissed, Graham said. There is sufficient evidence of intent and financial misconduct. Further action will proceed without your involvement. Shis Crowell. I exhaled, slow and steady. Good. When Graham left, Tariq remained seated. I owe you clarity, he said. I needed the marriage as a legal shield, but the protection, the counsel, the leverage, I did not fabricate those. I know. I said, you never asked me to disappear. He nodded. That mattered to you. It mattered. I said, because that's where this began. I took the phone and typed one sentence to my son. You taught me that power doesn't need permission. I blocked the number before the message showed delivered. Later that evening, I booked my own flight. My name, my email, my confirmation code. No one hovering. No one approving. As I waited for the receipt, I thought about what this ordeal had taught me. Love without boundaries is not kindness. Silence is not peace. And protecting someone from consequences can teach them cruelty instead of responsibility. I did not win by shouting. I won by standing still and letting the truth do its work. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories about reclaiming dignity when it matters most. When I finally closed the screen, I felt something settle that had been missing for years. Not relief, not victory, ownership.